Shemai everyone, I'm back again with a class for Scrap Academy, and this time the brief I've been given is to use to do embossing with stencils or masks. Now I love heat embossing. I do loads of it on my cards, and now and again I do it on my scrapbook pages. So these are the ones I'm going to use today, but it's not something I do that often on scrapbooking. But as I say, I do a lot of it on cards. So I've done a little bit of prep work. I'm going to use this cut file here, and as you can see, I backed it with the stunning papers from Cocoa Vanilla Unforgettable. I had the 12 by 12 paper pack, but in a sale then I bought the 6 by 8 paper stack, which is perfect then for backing cut files. I find the smaller pictures work really well with them. So I'm going to have a little try. As you can see, I've backed it already. What I tend to do to back my cut files, if people are not quite sure what to do, I turn it over onto the back of the cardstock. Even though I trace the inside of the letter, as you can see there, I've cut just outside my cut lines. It might be a bit hard for my camera to pick that up. So I'm going to start with this, and what I've got in my mind, whether it comes out of my mind, okay, is to use this lovely heart stencil here, and I'm going to press my embossing pad. Now for an embossing pad, it is quite important that you have something that dries slowly, not slows dryly. I'm using a Wow embossing pad, or you can have VersaFine. You can also use pigment inks and use clear embossing powder on it, but you need something that's going to take a bit of time to dry, because it gives you a chance then for you to sprinkle all your embossing powder on, and it's quite a sticky sort of ink. I'm going to use these Stampendous, and they're actually embossing enamel. I did a class with the lovely Rachel for Crop in the Country many years ago actually, and they use this, and I just fell in love with it. And obviously I needed all the colours they did and all the other things, and they've had very, very little use. There we are, I've admitted it on screen. So today, for a change, I'm going to keep it as a live video, just so that people who haven't done much heat embossing can see the whole process. So I'm going to think about where I want my cut file. I'm going to use my stencil here, and I'm just going to really press hard. Obviously keep holding your stencil in place. There we go. As you can hear that it's quite a juicy ink pad because it sort of sticks to the stencil. Now it's going to be really hard for you to see that. Oh, you might do. Can you see there? That is the sticky ink pad. Now I use a tray to sprinkle on. Now this is a really, really chunky embossing powder. For my cards, I usually use quite a fine one. Now then, if you give it a bit of a tap, I've got some there that I haven't sort of caught, and because, as I say, this is such a chunky one, I can actually pick it up with my fingers. And what I'm going to do now, on screen, I'm going to heat emboss it. I'm going to warm up my gun. Excuse me knocking everything over, and here it goes. Now, it's quite important not to hold it in one place too long, because you will actually scorch it. So keep your gun moving. If it's too powerful, and as you can see, it's blowing some of my pieces away, do it underneath your paper. And you will see when the embossing powder starts to melt, Can you see there now, the hearts are starting to go a bit shinier. There we go. Whew. Now, I know people have asked me in the past, would a hairdryer work? Probably not, because what it would probably just do, it doesn't get hot enough for a start, but it would just blow everything away. So, as you can see now, the powder has melted. As I say, this is an enamel embossing powder, so it would give you a much different effect to a very fine embossing powder like this one, which is a bit more like talcum powder. Is that fine? There we go. So what I'm thinking then, I'm going to empty all this back in, because let me tell you, I wouldn't put it past me to tip that all over my desk. That's one way of using it up, isn't it? And then I'm going to just put my cut file back on to see how it's looking. And you can see it then in the background there. But I think I might do some more just down here, but do them then in the teal. It's aged teal embossing enamel, and it's got a little bit of gold in it. So if I can just find out now what I've done with my stencil. So I'm going to bring it back in, and once again I'm going to position it. My photo is here, so I think I'll have some this side and then some the other side, but I won't inflict the noise of the heat gun off on you again, because I'm sure once you've heard it once is enough. So what I'm going to do then is I shall just emboss it off camera. So I'm going to put up with the noise. Okay, so that's all the heat embossing done. I've just laid that in place. So I sort of tried to mix it up slightly. As you can see though, it gives you a really nice sheen, and some of them look really rustic, mainly because I let the embossing pad dry a bit too much. But I'm just going to call it rustic. And it did ruffle my paper slightly, so all I did was trimmed 1/2 inch around and stuck it on another full sheet of 12 by 12. Usually I get the middle, but I wanted the strength behind it this time. And what I've done then, I've just cut some like fun foam for the back of my cut file. I'm just going to stick that down then using adhesive. Like a liquid adhesive, because you need to make sure it sticks on this embossing powder. There we go. So as I say, you would have a slightly different effect if you used just a normal thin embossing powder, but I wanted to use some of those products I bought years ago. There we are, and I'm just going to put that up towards, try to get it sort of centre of that piece there. There we go. Now obviously, because you've got such a big cut file, there's not a great deal of embellishing left to do. So I'm going to put my photo flat, because that means it can just tuck underneath. And there's actually a photo of my mum, myself and my nephew when we were on holidays a couple of years ago. He now towers over us both at just over, well, quite a bit over 6 foot actually. There we go. So I'm just going to tuck us under, and without sort of obscuring my head by the eye, which wouldn't be a bad thing, but there we go. There we are. Right. And then I've gone through and chosen the little embellishments I want to use. So I'm just going to put those on, and once again I'm going to use some fun foam. I just buy the cheapy stuff. You can get in Home Bargains or B&M or The Works. I don't go mad and buy the adhesive foam because it's quite a bit more expensive. And then I begrudge I begrudge spending it then on something that you don't have much fun out of, really, do you? You don't sort of think, oh, I've had a lovely day playing with that fun foam. Sticking my things down. There we go. So I'm just going to put that here, like centre of my paper. This kit, this collection is so pretty. And then I'm going to decorate some of my letters then. Some of these other pieces here. I'm going to use, just work out where I need some foam pads. So the longest part of this entire layout was back in my cut file, but it's lovely because the letters are really, really bulky and blocky. So it didn't take, it was much quicker than usual actually. I'm going to put this little camera up here. You need to try to do it so you don't obscure the letters though. You don't need to try and to say something completely different than you mean it to. There we go. And then I'm just going to put some of these flowers then around these letters up here. As I say, making sure that you can still see the full letter. And I must say the heat embossing worked really nicely. So that's, as I say, simple as you like. Use, if I were you though, I would use a pad that's for heat embossing, like VersaFine or the Wow embossing one. And this is an anti-static tool because we've sort of naturally got grease in our fingers, and you just sort of give it a wipe and it gets rid of all the grease for you. I'm showing you that, but I forgot to use it the 3 times I embossed. When I make cards, I always remember to use my anti-static tool, but for some reason all that flew out of the window tonight. So I'm just going to put some of these then as well, some of these little leaves around. There we go. Just sort of decorate it up. But as I say, because of the fact that you have done such a lot of work back in your cut file, I don't think it needs a great deal more embellishment left. There we go. I'm going to use a bit of this foam for this one because I think my foam pads are slightly thinner than the foam. Let me try to fit that in there properly. Oh my goodness, it's all gone to pot. Hang on a minute here. That's such a Welsh thing, because if my husband said, oh, Nick, can you do this for me? And I'll say, yes, now in a minute. So that's very much a Welsh thing. I'll be there now in a minute. So are you going to be there now or in a minute? I love this one, this little tag here, which says Little Moments. My nephew he's just fab. He's super special to us. We lost his mum, my sister, when he was 2 years old. She's actually the reason I got into scrapbooking and this little chap here, because I wanted him to know all about his mum. And I must say, he's exactly like her. He makes us proud every day. I'm going to put this up here. And to be honest, I'm going to have to be telling myself to stop soon, because sometimes I don't know when to stop and I'll just keep chucking stuff at it. But well, I think I'll put that up there. And then you'll be shouting at me in a second, step away from the scrapbooking page. This one says captured. And this is actually cut from the 6x8 sheet. And I'm going to put our family. Like this. Oh, where should I put it? Oh, I'll put it by here. Captured our family. My husband isn't in the photo, sadly, because he's taking the photo. It's usually me taking all the photos. No, I think I'm going to leave it. So, there we go. There's my scrapbook page. There is the heat embossing. I'd love to see you give it a try. Using a stencil or a mask, use your embossing pad and just sort of squash it through, really. I think that's the technical term. As you can see, it does leave it quite sticky, so make sure you clean it off. It's quite a sticky sort of ink pad, which helps the embossing powder stick to it. But give it a go. I can't wait to see what you get up to. And thank you for joining me. Take care. Hwyl fawr.